In this video, I try to escape the zombie prison. This prison is gigantic and made out of solid bedrock, making it nearly impossible to escape. The whole place is about to be overrun with zombies, so I have to escape as fast as possible. When I spawned in, I found myself trapped in a bedrock cage. I began looking around, and at first I didn't see anything, but after a while, I saw an ice block. It was just out of reach, so I assumed I was supposed to leave it for now, and just began looking around the room some more. After a while, I caught sight of the bottom of an item frame attached to the outside of the cage. I went into F5 to get a better look, and saw that there was an empty bucket inside of the item frame. I grabbed the bucket and was unsure what to do because I saw nothing else. I decided to look at the ice once again, and this time I noticed that I could barely reach it if I looked right at the bottom of the block. I then broke the ice, which caused it to turn to water. I used the empty bucket to grab the water, and then I placed it inside of the cage, which allowed me to swim out. I looked around the room some more and noticed an opening high up in one of the walls. I picked the water back up and then used it to scale up the wall to reach the opening. When I reached the top, I grabbed my water and then continued on through a short hallway. It ended with a pretty small room. There was a block in the center with a redstone comparator attached to it. There was also a hole in the roof that revealed a long shaft that led to a target. I knew I needed to hit the target with something, but I had nothing to shoot or throw, so I began examining the comparator in the center of the room. I decided to break it because I thought something could be hidden under it, but I found there was nothing there. I replaced the comparator and then thought for a moment. I remembered that I could trigger the comparator with an item frame, so I went back to the previous room and this time grabbed the frame that had contained the bucket. I went back to the comparator and placed the frame down. At first nothing happened, so I placed my water bucket in the frame and then began rotating it. Right at the last turn, something happened and I heard a click. I looked around the room and noticed that a snowball had appeared in the center. I grabbed it and knew what I needed to do, so I aimed at the target and threw the snowball. The target was triggered and caused a hole in one of the walls to appear. I saw that it led to a short drop. I knew it was probably short enough to not kill me, but I decided I would just do a water bucket clutch to be safe. I dropped down and then saw the next room. The floor had several blocks of netherrack in it, and there was a villager trapped in one of the walls. I walked over to the villager to see what they were trading and found that they would exchange a lever for a water bucket. I decided not to trade yet because I didn't know if I would need the bucket first. I found on the opposite wall there was a sign with an arrow pointing to the right. I guessed that was where I would be placing the lever, but I still wasn't quite convinced because of the netherrack. I remembered that I could pretty quickly break the netherrack with my fist, so I began breaking it to see if there was anything hidden below. After breaking a few blocks, I found that below one there was a dirt block. I broke the dirt and then dropped down into the hole to pick it up. Fortunately, I could get back out of the hole and keep the dirt because I hadn't given up my water bucket yet. I continued searching below the remaining netherrack, and after a while I found a button. I decided to press it, and when I did, I was given a big drip leaf. I realized there was no limit to how many times I could press it, so I just did it until I had a stack of them. I saw nothing else in the room, so I went to the villager and finally gave up my water bucket. I took the lever and placed it next to the sign, and when I flicked it, another doorway was opened. This doorway revealed a hallway with a few 1-block tall tunnels to the side. I knew I could use the big drip leaves to enter them, but decided to walk down the main hallway first. The main hallway led to another room. There was a crafting table and a stairway. I broke the crafting table to see if anything was below it, and I found nothing. I decided to go up the stairs and found that it led to a massive drop I could not survive. I turned around and went back to the 1-block tall tunnels. The first one I entered led me to an item frame with a water bottle in it. I grabbed it and then went to the next tunnel. This one took me to a blaze rod, which made me think I would need to be brewing something. The next tunnel I entered led to a phantom membrane and a nether wart. I grabbed them and then turned around and went to the other tunnel and found just a dead end with nothing. I now had all of the items needed to brew a slow falling potion, but did not have the actual brewing stand. I decided to go back to the stairs and this time go slower to see if I missed something. A while later, I noticed that there was actually a cobbled deep slate block hidden in the wall. I broke it and found the brewing stand was hidden behind it. I brewed the potion and then drank it and descended down to the bottom. This next room appeared to be very simple. There was a sign in the center of the room that pointed to a hallway at the left. I was kinda confused because it looked pretty pointless, but as soon as I walked forward, I realized what was going on. There was a maze made out of invisible barrier blocks. Now, mazes can be hard, but it's even harder when you can't see where the walls are. I began walking through the maze, and a while later, I finally made it to the maze exit. The exit took me to another room with a bunch of lava pools in the floor. They were in an odd pattern, so I assumed there was something below it. The first thing I did was run to the opposite wall and see if there was anything hidden behind the lava. I didn't find anything, so I began checking below the other pools, and after meticulously looking below each one, I became confused. There was nothing there. Several minutes later, I decided to check the wall once again, and this time, after looking forever, I found a hopper containing the items necessary to make a brewing stand. I grabbed the items, and as it was brewing, I began checking the lava pools in F5. I once again found nothing, so I checked the lava wall, and this time found there was a hole in the roof. I drank the potion and began swimming up the lava. But first, I need to tell you guys something insane. You guys can actually try to escape this prison because OP Legends sponsored this video and put this prison up on their server. They've made it so that anyone who escapes the prison will receive some crate keys, and with these keys you will have the chance to unlock some super cool items that you can use on their SMP or classic prison. To try out their prison, load up any Minecraft version newer than 1.8 and connect to their server with the IP play.oplegends.com. And guess what, Bedrock players, you're not being left out. You too can try out the prison with the same IP, play.oplegends.com, and the port 19132. Once you've loaded in, open up chat and type /warp prison, and you will immediately be thrown into the prison. If you get stuck or die, don't worry, you can restart by typing /warp escape. Again, thank you to OP Legends for sponsoring this video. As I swam up, my inventory was cleared, and eventually I reached the top. When I reached the top, I realized I was no longer surrounded by bedrock, and as I walked forward, I realized I was in the eye of the zombie. I looked down and saw there was water a little bit to the right, but I couldn't reach it because of the zombie's arm. I decided to jump onto the zombie's arm, and when I did, I lost a few hearts, but I was now able to make it into the water. I safely landed into the water and then ran off into the forest, narrowly escaping the zombies.